Turns out a lot of people go to TikTok for their tax and legal advice, and it's a cesspool for bad information and things you shouldn't do. Now, you guys love my last video where I set the record straight on IRAs and 401ks. This time, we're gonna be hitting LLCs.
What prevents someone from opening up an LLC, taking out a big loan, transferring all that money to their personal account, and then just filing bankruptcy on that LLC?
There's really nothing stopping them. I've seen people do this time and time again.
Okay, slow down here. That is not what an LLC is for. You can't just set up an LLC, go get a loan for it, take all the money out personally, and bankrupt it, okay? The whole purpose of an LLC is to get limited liability protection. That's limited liability company. That's what LLC stands for. But there are limitations for it. If you are committing fraud by taking a loan out and then claiming bankruptcy in the LLC, you do not get the LLC protection. Guess what's gonna happen when that creditor comes after you? You're gonna say, hey, I've got an LLC. You can't sue me. And they're gonna go to court and the judge is gonna be like, what did you use the LLC for? What was the business purpose of the LLC? Did you take that money that you were loaned in the business and use it for a business purpose? If you did, you're fine. But being able to take that money out of the LLC and use it for personal expenses, you will get zero protection from the LLC. And frankly, you shouldn't. Do not use an LLC for this. This is a dumb idea.
I don't always recommend it. And like I said, guys, this is not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only.
Exactly. This is for entertainment purposes only, and that is all. It is terrible advice. He knows it is. That's why he's trying to be like, this is not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. No kidding. Do not do this. Do not view LLCs as tools to commit fraud, to unlawfully take money. This is a legitimate business structure. Go start a business and build wealth. That's what the LLC is for. You get limited liability protection. So use the LLC for what it is intended for. When you do, you get asset protection. When you do harebrained things like this, you get zero protection.
If it comes to a point where you take out a business line of credit or a business loan and you transfer it to your personal bank account and you use it for whatever you need to use it for, and you really can't pay it back, file for bankruptcy. Sure, if that's your last option, but your entity, your LLC, your business credit score is gonna tank. And most people, after they do that, they just dissolve their LLCs and call it company quits. There's nothing stopping them from doing it. I've seen a lot of people take out business loans, buy a Lambo, buy a Urus, buy a Huracan, buy a fucking Ferrari, pay the car off in cash, and then they don't pay the loan back because they can't afford to.
Okay, so all you're doing here is begging for a lawsuit at the end of the day. You're going to take this money out, go get a loan, and buy a Lambo or a Ferrari. Guess what happens when you file bankruptcy? They come and take the Lambo. They come and take the Ferrari. You're not getting ahead with ideas and strategies like this. So stop abusing LLCs. This is why LLCs have a bad name, is because of people like this that are promoting these types of strategies and ideas. Use the LLC for legitimate purposes, for small business, for rental real estate. We love LLCs. I love LLCs. We set up 500 of them every month here in our law firm, but there is a legitimate intended purpose for it. It's real business and it's real real estate investing.
Top 3 reasons why you should form your LLC in Wyoming. So reason number 1 is privacy. You can stay anonymous if you want. The only people that need to be on your LLC is the registered agent and the person who filed it. So no more of people selling your information or nosy neighbors.
Okay, I gotta stop here. Wyoming LLC is the most oversold legal strategies to just use a Wyoming LLC. It's gonna solve all of your problems. There is a very small instance where you use a Wyoming LLC. For 99% of business owners, you're gonna set up an LLC in the state where you actually conduct business, if you're a small business, or for you real estate investors, in the state where you own the real estate. If you own a rental property in Minnesota, we're doing a Minnesota LLC. If you conduct business in Arizona, I'm doing an Arizona LLC because that's where you conduct business. Going to Wyoming is going to do you zero good. If I have a Wyoming LLC, even if I can get privacy in Wyoming, as he's suggesting here, even if I don't put my name on the LLC, because it's true, Wyoming doesn't make you do that. What happens to that LLC when it owns a rental property in Minnesota? Minnesota doesn't even recognize the damn thing. Minnesota's like, you don't have an LLC unless you register it with us. So you've got to register that Wyoming LLC into Minnesota for the Minnesota rental property. And now you're giving your information to Minnesota just as if you set up an LLC. So why don't you just go to Minnesota and set up an LLC? So this fallacy of using Wyoming LLCs for everything needs to be freaking debunked. Stop setting up Wyoming LLCs. Set up LLCs in the state where you're conducting business or where you own rental properties.
Wyoming offers corporate veil, which basically protects your personal assets from your business. So any personal liabilities you have cannot be affected by your business liabilities. So this protects you from employees, greedy customers, or anyone with a vendetta against you.
Okay, all 50 states offer the corporate vel. What he's saying here is you can protect your personal assets from your business liabilities. Well, no kidding. I can do that with any LLC in all 50 states. Whatever state you're in, you can use an LLC and you get the corporate vel. You do not need to go to Wyoming to get corporate vel protection. Now, there is one unique thing in Wyoming. It provides something called charging order protection to single member LLCs. So if I have a judgment against me personally, I can stop them from getting into my LLC to go take the assets that the LLC might own. Maybe it's a property or cash or other investment assets that the LLC has. That's my personal liabilities going against the business. Wyoming does have a small unique protection for that called charging order protection, but that is the only distinction. And as a real lawyer practicing with real clients every day, the value of that is pretty small. The primary asset protection we're trying to get from an LLC is to prevent your personal assets, your other businesses, from liabilities that occur in the business itself. People get this all twisted though and turn it into an answer like this guy saying it's the only state that you get the corporate vel treatment. No, you're misunderstanding it. The regular corporate vel, where my personal assets get protected from the business liabilities, you get in all 50 states.
It's corporate income tax. It is only one of 2 states that do not require corporate income tax or gross receipts tax, which is basically a tax on your revenue. So all in all, this means you can make more money on your company.
Okay, bless this guy. All right, corporate income tax. State corporate income tax you're subjected to if you are a C corporation. If you're an LLC, you're not a C corporation. An LLC by default is taxed as a sole proprietorship. There is no corporate income tax. Even if the state has a corporate income tax, LLCs don't pay it. So saying you need to go to Wyoming to avoid corporate income tax is a totally dumb idea. You already avoid it by not electing to have it in your state. So if you're in Arizona, which does have a corporate income tax, and you're an LLC, you don't have to pay it. You're not subjected to it. You're an LLC, taxed as a sole proprietorship, maybe you're a partnership, or maybe you're an S corp. But all 3 of those categories don't pay state corporate income tax. So don't go to Wyoming to get this. You already have it in the state you live in. Now there is a small situation where we do like Wyoming LLCs for a very certain specific set of clients that have large net worth and they have personal liabilities they're trying to protect from their business assets. Make sure you watch this video here where I go over Wyoming LLCs in more detail. But for the typical small business owner or real estate investor, stop doing Wyoming LLCs.
Right now, I bought a car, and that car is $300,000. And I know that if I get into a major accident and there's damage for, let's say, $1 million, I know most insurances are not going to cover that. My insurance doesn't cover $1 million. So I put my car on an LLC. I ride the car, I drive that car as one of the members that's borrowing the car from the LLC. If I get into a major car accident, somebody sues the LLC, I just close the LLC. I might lose the money for the car, but at the same time, I'm not going to be sued for another $700,000.
Okay, I gotta stop it here for a second. Okay, totally wrong. Absolutely wrong. You can't just put things into an LLC like your personal car and now you get limited liability protection when you're driving to the grocery store to get a gallon of milk. The LLC has asset protection. It is true. That's one reason people use LLCs. And let's say you have a business where you're a delivery driver and you do use the car and your LLC owns the car. And while you're on business, you do get in an accident. Now that LLC does come into play. But suggesting every day you're in the car, now you all of a sudden get asset protection is totally false. It's totally BS. Only get asset protection when the LLC is being used, and let's say it's a car here, and you're actually conducting business. Maybe you're a contractor and you've got trucks, or a landscaping company, you got teams out using your vehicles. Sure, I want those owned in the LLC, and if while they're out conducting business in your vehicles owned by the LLC, something happens, we've got awesome asset protection. But suggesting you're putting a $300,000 car in the LLC and using it for personal purposes, and now I've got asset protection unlimited, is totally BS. It must be used for a business purpose in order to get the business asset protection of the LLC.
I had no idea that LLCs were probably the worst way to do business, and the wealthy and the elite are using something completely different.
All right, I'm always skeptical when someone leads off with, and the wealthy and elite are doing something totally different. I'm super skeptical whenever someone says that. Let's see what he's onto here.
I stumbled on the information that changed my life. Check it out. Here's the thing with having an LLC to do business. You have to register that with the state. So that means the state over.
All right, let me slow down here. Why do you register with the state? Because every state has a statute in their law on LLCs that says when you conduct business in the LLC, the liabilities of the LLC stick with the LLC. They don't come after the owners or the managers personally. So if I'm doing business and I want to limit my liability, I'm going to set up an LLC and opt in to that state's legal protection that I get in court. It's in the law. That's why you go and register with the state, is because it's a recognized vehicle and way to protect your assets.
Oversees your business. There's fees, there's annual reports, and then there's annual fees that you have to pay again to keep that business and LLC intact. LLC stands for Limited Liability Company, but the corporate veil can be pierced very easily. And when you do that, they can go after your assets personally for something that the business does.
An LLC's corporate veil, this protection you have that protects your personal assets from the business liabilities, can be pierced if you're conducting fraudulent stuff. If you're buying cars for $300,000 that you get a loan for and not paying it back, yes, they will be able to pierce the corporate veil. But if you're otherwise conducting real business, you have a real small business providing a real product or service, and something bad happens, there's some negligence or a dispute or something, you get the LLC protection. If you got a rental property and the tenant slips and falls, I get the LLC protection. They can't sue me personally, and they can't pierce the corporate veil. How they can pierce the corporate veil is if you're doing bogus stuff or fraudulent things, and you're trying to use the LLC as some illegitimate shield. But if you're out conducting regular business, which is the purpose of setting up LLCs, to conduct a real business or to make real investments, that is when you can have absolute certainty that the corporate veil will protect you. And how do you have certainty? Because it's in the law and you've registered it with the state, declaring your intent to take advantage of that law.
And you get a divorce. Well, that LLC, it's going to be in divorce court. And now you've got to split up your business. You've got to split up your assets. Or when you pass away, your business goes into probate. Your assets are frozen and likely you're going to go out of business. What's the solution for that? You're asking yourself, I'm sure. The solution is using trust. Trusts are the ultimate weapon in business and asset protection, along with
No, they're not. We'll get to this in a second.
Along with estate planning. Here's why. Trusts offer unparalleled privacy. You don't record anything on public record that divulges the ownership of a trust. An LLC, on the other hand, you have to record that with the Secretary of State.
Okay, so he's mixing up concepts here. Trusts are for estate planning. I love trusts. We use trusts every day in our law firm for clients doing estate planning. Your trust should own your LLC. Your trust should own your home and your other assets. But the trust is for estate planning purposes. It passes my assets down without having to go to probate court where my family or my survivors have to go and then claim my assets and go through a lengthy court process. But do not mistake a trust for asset protection. It is an estate planning tool.
Trusts offer asset protection, okay? So your assets are protected against creditors, against lawsuits, so it shields your assets super effectively.
Okay, trusts do not provide asset protection. There are limited types of trusts out there called domestic asset protection trust. There's about 13 states that have them, but they are designed to hold assets, not conduct business. A domestic asset protection trust, I don't know what he's talking about here, is the only instance where I would agree. The problem out there is people are setting these BS and bogus trust structures up that we don't agree with that provide zero asset protection. They're using business trusts. Do you know there's only a few states that actually have a land trust in their law, but people are using these trust structures in states that have no protections for trusts. They're getting zero asset protection, and they're like, well, I'm saving money because I'm not paying fees to the state for my LLC. Well, you know what? You have zero asset protection for that trust. They can sue the trust and come right through to you, the owner or beneficiary of the trust. There is no asset protection in a trust, with the exception of the domestic asset protection trust or the couple of states that do have a business trust. But again, the domestic asset protection trusts are not set up to conduct business. Let me go back to the beginning of this video where he said that this is what the elite and wealthy do. No, they don't. No, they don't. I've met with 10,000 clients over my career as a business and tax lawyer. I've seen people build wealth. They do not use trust to conduct business. They use trust to plan for their estate. What do they use to conduct business? LLCs and corporation. Why do they use that? Because in the law, it gives them all of the asset protection and tax benefits that they want. Trusts are not designed to go and conduct business. Now, I don't know why this has taken off and been so popular. We run into clients all the time using these trusts instead of LLCs, thinking they have asset protection. So tread very carefully when someone's recommending a trust to you instead of an LLC. Trust me, we set up trusts every day here in my law firm. I'd love to go and sell more trusts, but I want to be in business next year. I want to do what's right for the client. I would never set up a trust for myself or my family or anyone I care about to actually go and conduct business. And if you don't believe me and my experience, look at Donald Trump. His tax returns got exposed. How many trusts did he use to conduct business? 0. How many LLCs did he use? Hundreds. Go look it up. You can see his organizational diagram and how he structures his business. Is he using trust to conduct business? This is probably the most well-known, wealthy person in America. Whether you like him or not politically, you know the guy's shrewd from a legal standpoint. What is he using? LLCs. All right, well, I got on a rant there, but I want you to know LLCs are amazing tools for business ownership and real estate investing. We use them every day with our clients. I use them personally, but you got to make sure you're using it right and you understand the right purpose and validity for the LLC. Now, if you've seen any cringy videos out there about tax or legal advice, send them my way. Go to the Ask Matt link down in the description below. Send it over to my team. We'll check it out, and I will give you my reaction and opinion on an upcoming video. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel because I'm going to be back every week with more videos helping you build wealth. I'm Matt Sorensen. We'll see you next time.